Hi everyone, Happy New Year. I just wanted to make sure to tell each and every one of you how much I appreciate all of your Merry Christmas and Happy New Year wishes that you have left me in comments on my videos and in my blog and on Facebook. I read each and every one of them, and although I don't always have time to respond and leave a comment for every individual, I do read them all. I want to make sure that you guys know that. And so I want to take this time right now to wish you all a Happy New Year, and I hope you all have enjoyed your holidays and are ready to begin a new year. We, of course, are going to be doing a new year of Mixed Media Morsels. I made sure I let everybody in the Mixed Media Morsels Facebook group know about this the other day, and I told them definitely that we will be doing something special again this year, and this year we'll do desserts. Okay, so we've done appetizers and main dishes, and so now it's time for dessert morsels. So what we're going to cover in this year is just going to do a few videos covering some like special little touches for your projects. It could be something like embellishments, or it could be learning a particular type of lettering. Just little things that make your projects, like your art journal pages or canvas or anything. It just gives them just that extra little pizzazz that you might want to add, and maybe you're not sure how to, so we're going to just cover a few of those. Also, I would like to this year throw out a couple of challenges here and there for Mixed Media Morsels, and I plan to call those morsel mashups. So I'll, draw from a pile of all the different morsels that we've done, like the year of the appetizers where we learned all the different techniques. And I'll draw from a pile and maybe put a couple together and throw out a challenge to everyone to create something using those two particular morsels. Of course, you can add a lot of other things too, but just make sure you include those two or maybe three morsels. And we'll call those mashups, and we'll have a lot of fun. I've made a couple of those myself where I've mashed up a couple of different the morsel techniques, and it's a lot of fun. And it's a good way to challenge yourself to kind of step out of your box and create something new, maybe something different, and do something that you haven't done before. So, all that being said, let's get started with the first morsel dessert of this year. I'm going to be showing you how to create some little wooden embellishments. I got busy playing around here at my art table the other day, and I really couldn't stop. I was having so much fun. But these are little wooden embellishments, and like this one in particular is one of those wood veneers, and I just collaged little tiny itty bitty pieces of painted papers and book text and all those little tiny scraps that fall to the bottom of your scrap box. We did this before in the first year of Morsels. One of the appetizers, one of the very early ones, I believe it was like number 3, was a tiny little collage page, but we used those tiny little pieces. And so I just did that again, and I did it instead of on an art journal page or a little tiny page, I did it on some wooden pieces. Then, of course, I added some stamped elements, which I didn't stamp directly on this. I stamped on tissue paper. Whoops! I stamped on tissue paper and then attached the tissue paper, and you get a much better stamped image when you're working with collage that way. So, and then some little bling in the middle there, and some Stickles, some glitter glue on the outside edge around the edge of the butterfly. So, really had a lot of fun. This one is another piece from a children's game, and I did the same thing in the background, just collaged some different painted papers and then added tissue with some script on it, and tissue with a little bead that was stamped, and a word and some bling. Drew a little border around it, and it makes the cutest little charm. These kind of things can be attached in your art journal pages. You know, I would use, these are very lightweight. I would use something like the score tape, the double-sided tape that sticks really well. Those will stick right down and embellish your page really nicely. Of course, you can also attach them to canvases or any kind of altered project that you're working on. And then this last one was a little wooden heart. This one's a little bit different kind of wood. It came from a craft store. I don't remember which one now. I've had these for a long time, but it was a little bag that had several of these little hearts in it. And so, you know, once again, did the same thing, added the little tiny collage pieces, and this is actually a stamped image under here, but I covered it in so much Stickles that you can't see the black image, but I outlined it as well. But yeah, just adding something like Stickles, you know, makes that look completely different, you know, than the black image that I had originally started with. And this little swirly thing was not part of this stamp. It's just a little flourish. And I wanted to point out what I used. This one actually is little flourish stamps, okay? And I'd use that for the butterfly. But for this one, this is something different. And I wanted to make sure you guys keep in mind that your stamps, a lot of your stamps can, you know, can hold things that you don't realize unless you're looking closely and thinking that way. Okay, this is the little set that had the little flourishes in it here. It's a little kit set from Bo Bunny. Okay, but this particular set of stamps from Inka Dinka Doo had this little bee on it. And that little swirly area showing the bees in motion made the perfect little flourish for this heart. So I just wanted to point out to look at your stamps carefully. See, here's another one down here on this butterfly. That would be really, really cute. You know, used as a flourish, and you just cut it or tear it out of your tissue and just leave the butterfly and use this part if that's what you need. So it's just an idea to, you know, pass along in case you guys hadn't thought of something like that. So anyway, these are the little things I've been working on, and they're so much fun. Like I said, I couldn't stop. I just wanted to keep making them. So let me show you. This is a bag full of just some little wooden parts and pieces that I had picked up over the years at the craft store. So some of these are a little thicker, and you know, they might be better suited, maybe not for an art journal page, but could always be attached to something else you're altering, like a box or a canvas or something like that. Those can easily be attached. And these are the thinner ones, like this little heart here that I made. This one right here. So that's what those are. And then this is the little game pieces that I had picked up at, I either got them at the thrift store or at a yard sale. And you can watch for stuff like this all the time. People are getting rid of stuff like that their kids have outgrown. So they're just perfect to use for altering. And here's the little set that had the butterfly in it. These are just the wood veneers. And they work perfectly. I mean, you can paint them. You don't have to. I did collage on all these, but you don't have to. You can paint them and then stamp on them, or add bling to them, or add rub-ons. There's just a whole ton of ways to do something like that, you know, to just make them your own. And this is another little package. I don't even have a brand or anything on this, but it came from the craft store, Hobby Lobby or Michael's or something like that, maybe Joanne. But they're all just, you know, lightweight wood pieces, and they can easily be painted or collaged and turned into something really fun. So I just wanted to show you what those look like. And now I want to get started and just make one and show you how I did it. I'm going to take one of the little square game pieces. It might be a rectangle. It's just a bit, almost a square. It's a little taller, I think, than it is wide. But I'm just going to collage some papers. I've got some here that I just pulled out of my scrap bin. And I don't know what I'll use. I don't have a plan in mind. I didn't have a plan in mind for these other little ones either. I just started, you know, tearing little pieces of paper and sticking them down on the little wooden pieces. So I'm going to fast forward this section where I'm just gluing down pieces, and then I'll be back in a few minutes and show you what else I'm going to do to it. Okay, after it's dry, I did dry it with the heat tool. I just go around the edges and kind of lift up the papers off the edge because I want to keep the edges plain. You can certainly wrap them around and continue to stick it down all the way to the edges, down past the edges if you want to. But I've been trimming these off just like this, and I kind of like the way that looks for my own pieces here. So just go around and trim the excess, or make sure that all the edges are stuck down if you're sticking them down. And it looks really cute. I love this one. It's really bright and colorful. You guys know how I love bright colors, right? Okay. So I had all this color going around the edges, and so I decided to put a real nice bright pop of yellow in the middle. And I had a good reason for doing that, and I'm fixing to show you what it is. I have a butterfly that I stamped on tissue, okay? And I want to place that butterfly on that yellow block. Just thought it would be kind of cool to have the yellow showing through on the, you know, white or the clear areas of the butterflies. Just thought that might look really, really neat. So first of all, I'm going to take my water brush. You guys have seen how I do this before. Just making sure it's wet here, and just kind of go around the outside edge of what you want to cut out or tear out, I should say, because the edges being torn looks just so much more natural. It blends into your paper, your project, so much nicer than hard edges that have been cut. So I just wet it and, you know, go around the edge, just pulling gently, and it tears and makes a feathered edge, which lays down really nice on the little embellishment. Okay. Just tear off a little bit more excess here. It's not a big deal. It's going to really pretty much disappear, which is what I want it to do. Okay, so that's going to go here on this colorful little embellishment block. All right, and I'm going to just put a good heavy, kind of heavy layer of the, I'm using Collage Page, just because I want to make sure it really gets wet under there, which will help that tissue, the white tissue areas, to just disappear. So I'm going to put that right about there. All right, and then you're going to have to be really gentle, you know, with the wet tissue, because it will tear apart if you're not. So, oops, and go away from the edges, not toward the edges like I just did. There we go. And it should work out just fine. Of course, once it gets wet, the wetter it is, the the more danger you're in of it coming apart. So don't fool with it too much once you get it down there. All right, so I'm going to dry this again, and you'll see how that kind of disappears. That yellow will show through a little on the outside, but then in the inside parts of the wings there. And then the next thing I'm going to add is a little word that I had cut from a magazine. It says create. And I'm going to put that down here at the bottom. I think that will look really cool there. And that'll just about use up this Collage Page I have out on my mat here. I think that's pretty straight. Maybe slide it over just a tad if it will slide. There we go. Alright, I'm just going to go ahead and cover this one more time since I have the extra stuff here, and that'll use it up. Check your edges. Any edges that didn't get glued down really well, you can glue those down to make sure they stay put. Alright. So I'm going to dry this, and then I'll be right back. Okay, we're all dry, well, for the most part. And I really want the yellow to pop a little bit more on the butterfly's wings, so I'm going to use a Posca pen and just color in that area just to make it more vibrant. Just inside the wings there. See how that looks so much nicer? A little bit more pop to it. And since these are so bright out here, I kind of like the look of that. These are just so much fun to make, you guys. I mean, I just don't know if I'd ever need to buy any more embellishments, knowing that I can make them with scraps. Things that are just left over, or, you know, could be thrown in the trash, can make something as gorgeous and colorful as this. I just think it's awesome. Of course, you guys know how I am about using up my scraps and using up anything left over. But I really love these. And if you don't have any wooden game pieces, or like what I showed you, use chipboard, or glue together some layers from some food packaging. You know, take a cereal box, and if you have a punch, you know, maybe punch out a heart shape or a butterfly, and do it 2 or 3 times and glue those together, and it makes a nice, thick, sturdy piece to work on. So it would be the same effect as using the wood pieces would be. So get that finished, and I think that looks really pretty, really bright and vibrant. Okay, I'm going to dry that again. Actually, I'm going to outline the word and then I'll dry it all at the same time. Just add a couple of little lines going around. Go. And one more thing, I think I would like to add a white border, also with a Posca pen. I think this one's about empty. Let me try a different one. I think this one would be good. And I'm just going to do a little, I think a wiggly line border. You know, nothing perfect. This is all loosely, very loosely done. Sometimes the looser the better, because it has that really cool handmade quality to it, you know. Go. How fun. I might go back and do that line another time a little darker, so it's a little darker, but I'm going to get it dry first. Okay. Now I'm noticing that my napkin, my tissue did tear just a little bit at the top edge of the butterfly. It's not major, but that can easily be fixed. You know, just taking a Sharpie and just, you know, rounding it out again and filling in, you know, any of the torn area. Just like that. The next thing I'm going to do is take some Stickles and, well, no, before I do that, I'm going to punch a hole in it because I really want to, well, I don't know. I don't know if I want to punch a hole in the center or maybe have a hole on either side. I might want to hang it with a little wire. You know, see, these don't have to be attached to anything. They can be elements on their own, you know. Project in itself, in other words, not to necessarily use for something else, but it would be cute to hang it or display it, you know, by hanging it. But I'll think about that. Before I do that, I'll think about that a little bit more. But I do want to add Stickles, and I do want to make this line a little bit bolder. Maybe my bigger Posca pen with the has a thicker nib on it. We'll see if that one looks a little bit better. Yeah, I like the thickness of that one more. If you're not sure, it's always good to start with the thinner one because you can always thicken it up with, you know, by going over it again or using a pen with a larger nib. But if you start with the bigger one, it's a little harder to make it small again if you decide you don't like it thick. So. Okay, so let's put some Stickles on that. I'm going to put it on the yellow areas. This is just the diamond Stickles, and it kind of makes anything sparkly, and the color will still show through. When it's all dry, I'll still be able to see the yellow underneath there. It's very pretty. Yeah, when I started this, I did not intend to do like a little color blocking around the edges. That never occurred to me. That's just the way it started going down as I was placing pieces and then putting the piece in the center. It just totally looks like a color blocked piece. It just goes to show you, sometimes you don't know what you're going to do. And once you start, things just start happening on their own. I love that. It's what creating is all about too, just relaxing and just enjoying the process and what happens. Sometimes it's not what you plan, and usually it's better if you don't have a plan. If you have a plan in mind, you're more easily upset when things don't go like you wanted them to go. But if you just kind of go with the flow, you can make some really fun things that you never even realized you were going to make. Like, I had no idea I was going to make this look like this today. So, and I'm just really happy with that. So here's the, see if I can catch the light on the stickle so you can see it. It's a little bit hard to see because the whole thing is a bit shiny, but when it's dry it might shine, sparkle a little bit better, but I can see the sparkles on it. Really sweet. Okay, so that's our project. Like I said, I may punch a hole or 2 holes, I haven't decided yet, and attach a little hanger to it. And sometimes I'll take like a wide marker, like a Faber-Castell Pitt pen, and I'll just color the edges. In fact, I'll go ahead and do that now. I'm just afraid of touching the stickles. I have to be careful. I just take the edge, and just go right along the edge of the project. And just turn it black. These particular ones already have a brown edge, and so sometimes I've left the brown edge, just left it as the color it was. It is so cute. All right. I'm going to also take it right along the very front edge, just to give that edge a little bit of the top. Give it a tiny little outline of black right there. Will help make all those colors pop. I'm sorry if I went out of frame there. I'm concentrating on not touching the stickles. Okay, there we go. Really cute. I really love these. So much fun. I hope you guys enjoy making some too, because I mean, you see how easy that was. It just took a few minutes. And before I leave, I want to show you a couple of other ones that I made. You guys might remember back in the 2016 appetizers that we did some painted circles. And before we did those, I had previously done, like 2 or 3 years before that, I had done an art journal page using the painted circles. And I had made a couple of pages making those, and I only used one in my art journal. And then I had leftover pieces that I've used here and there for different projects over the years. So while I was looking through my scraps, I found some more just little remnants. I mean, little tiny scrap pieces left over, and I used them on 2 of these little game pieces just because I love all the colors in them. And a couple of them didn't have quite enough color, so I actually, once I attached it, I went back like and added a little red here, a little yellow there, just to add in and help fill in the color, just to round them out. But they really, really look cute. These I left brown on the edges, and these are just some more of the wooden game pieces. But I just love how they look, because I just love the colors, and I love those painted circles so much. They're just so much fun to do, and I just thought it was so much fun being able to use the very last little remnant pieces. And today, when I was pulling out scraps, I actually found one more piece that I didn't even know I had. And there's one last little piece of one of the circles. So it just goes to show you, look at what a cute little item, just with one piece. I didn't collage a bunch of small pieces. This is just like one piece of paper attached to the block. And, while we're speaking about that, I might just do one more, because I found another scrap of a jelly print that I really, really love. I just love how all these colors work together on this particular piece. And so I was thinking I might take one of these little blocks again, the little game pieces. I'm enjoying using these little things. Here we go. And see if this will fit. I think it will fit on there. Yes, it will. That's awesome. So I'm going to cover that. I'm just going to do it real quick because it won't take very long. And I've got my brush and everything sitting here, so might as well do it now. I don't think I'll embellish it, you know, do anything special, but I do want to add that piece of paper and just see how cool it looks on there, because I just have a feeling it's going to look really fun. So all I'm doing is just coating the piece, and I'm going to lay this on top. Pick it up so I can hang on to it a little bit easier. I'm just kind of lining up a couple of the edges. It'll be less trimming that way. Let's see, there we go. All right, and then I'm going to press this down really good. Just use the edge of my brush, I think. Just make sure you get the air bubbles out, you know, because when you're collaging in little tiny pieces, it's easy to press them down. When you got a bigger piece, you want to make sure you get all the air bubbles and stuff out. I'm just wiping the excess glue off the sides of the wood block. All right, and then I'm going to put a coat on top like that. I just love these colors together in this jelly print. And it's one of those things where, you know, the large jelly print was really pretty, but it could be like overwhelming. You know, sometimes you have just so much pattern and design and stuff going on, right? But then you tear off a little piece of it and it looks amazing as a tiny piece. I don't know what it is about it, but I love how that works. So I'm going to dry this real quick and I'll come right back. Okay, I'm trimming off the excess, and we'll get to see how this looks. All right, we got it. Oh, look at that. That is just so cool to me. I just think it looks awesome. It's just amazing. Paint on paper, it's just so cool. So you can see how your little bits of painted papers can turn into something really, really, really cool. So don't throw away those that you think, oh, it's just not very good, I don't really like it, it's too busy. Tear it, you know, cut it into strips. You'll be amazed at how much fun you'll have working with the little pieces, you know. So anyway, guys, thanks for joining me today. I can't wait to see what your little wood embellishments look like for your very first dessert morsel. And be sure to head over to the Mixed Media Morsels Facebook group. If you're not a member already, just go over and request to join, and we'll get you in as soon as possible. And you can create these along with us and share them there. And you'll find lots of encouragement there. We got a great group of people, and I just hope that 2018 is a great year for all of us as we enjoy continuing to create and just having fun with it. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.